There he is. What's up, man? The man that saved my ass.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was incredible. I don't know how you pulled that off.
It's magic, man.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
We got any other people in here? Okay, we got some people.
Oh, Ralph is here.
You seeing any other activities? Like, can you even book things right now?
Yeah, so right now, Ron DeSantis has issued an executive order that
You're a little choppy.
Let's see.
It's a little choppy for you.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Ralph.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Is it just the three of us, or are there
There's
more
some
on?
other people that are signed in but not on video.
Okay.
You having some crazy closings, like just all over the place, like on the hood of cars, like.
Got to get
all
creative
different.
with it in these times,
I know,
man.
What's the most creative thing you've done?
Hell, at this point, sit at home and perfect my Zoom call.
There you go.
Experiences.
I'm actually shocked you're not wearing a suit.
I know, right? I thought about it, dude. I thought about it, man. Maybe Thursday. Maybe I'll wear it for Thursday.
All right.
You'll see Ralph with his feet just kicked up on the desk.
Yeah.
That's right, man. That's right. With my pink shoes on, dude.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, we've noticed definitely a bit of a slowdown here in April. Not so much in March, but from an investor standpoint, I could say that, the biggest battle has been funding essentially for the investors, and anything that's fallen out though. Typically, even though maybe the contract canceled, it's being picked up quickly. So I mean, it's essentially assigning the contract. So and we're progressing from that standpoint. So. But that's the biggest from an investor standpoint. I mean, that's what I've seen so far, happening on our end is everything, a lot more contracts are just assigning.
Mm.
What about yourself, Rob? What are you seeing, dude, on your end?
Seeing just I'm still pretty busy. There's people that are calling in to refinance.
Sure.
Asking where rates are at now. Can I lower my payments? Some people are still reducing their term. Then I'm also getting quite a few purchase pre-quals. So people that were like on the fence that may like to see a dip in the house prices, and that just want to be ready for that. So I've done a lot of pre-qualifications this week and last week. And luckily the programs that most of them that I lend on, almost all of them are conventional products. So those are still being funded.
Sure.
No problem.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know the law firm, I had some conversation with Andrew, and they've been pretty busy on their end.
Mm-hmm.
Helping with people looking to get a divorce. Don't know what to do with the property. Or need some guidance.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's slowed down a bit in April here, but in terms of still how how we're performing as an organization as a basically year to date versus where we were last year. I mean, we're still very strong, which is a good sign for now. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for you guys. Still have business.
Who was that?
That's Jared. I'm just saying that's great for you guys to still have business.
Oh, yeah.
We're shut down completely.
Yeah.
Mm. So Jared, you're still choppy a little bit, just to let you know. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know
Maybe
if I'm going to be able to.
you could call in with your phone and then just mute the video. Maybe.
And Jared, I apologize, man. I'm not going to be able to stay on real long. This whole cyber school and trying to be teacher Ralph is it's a nightly routine, man. So
Good for you.
I don't know if it's good for me, dude, but whatever.
Yeah.
Are you smarter than a third grader? I'm finding out real quick, dude.
Really? Yeah, fortunate to not have kids and have that extra responsibility right now. So
Yeah.
it's been nice.
Yeah.
I think Jared's dialing in here. So we got 12 people total. No one else said hello. I know there's other people out there.
Hi, guys.
There we go. Hello, Raven.
Happy Tuesday.
You too. Anybody else want to say hi?
Hello,
Jason, how you doing?
hanging in there.
All right.
I'm actually
Excellent.
doing homeschool with the kids now. I was trying to do it in the mornings. Now I'm like, forget this.
Yeah,
I'll do real
Nighttime.
estate first and then
that's good. Get
do
it
the
done first.
second
Yep.
grade crap later.
Nice. Smart.
Hello. This is Angela.
Hey, Angela.
Hi. I'm multitasking, working on
Okay.
bills and listening in.
Got it. Well, thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Hey everybody, this is Nick.
Nick, what's going on? What's new
going
in your
on?
world?
Not much. Hey, this is my first time calling in, or I guess joining any of these meetups for the Tampa Bay real estate. So
All right.
just
Excellent.
I'm here to learn.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah. Well, please don't judge us on the format, but it's a little informal tonight. But we still want to meet and maybe just get like a market update. So Nick, what part of the business are you in? Or what do you do for work?
So right now I work for a Department of Defense contractor, not really
Nice.
in real estate at all.
Yeah, that's
but,
okay.
But on the side, we'll call it a side hustle. I'm trying to get into some real estate investment for just personal reasons. So
Good.
I've my 2020 goal was to actually start taking it serious. So
Awesome.
here we are.
Well, there's a lot of people in the room that are full-time in real estate, and there's also a lot of people that are part-time. Most of us all own investment properties, so definitely ask questions and just sit back and learn. Jared, did you get on?
Yeah, you got good audio now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to speak through my cell phone, and when I speak through my cell phone, nobody else can see me on the big screen. But yeah, welcome, man. There's blood in the water right now. A lot of people trying to exit. Now's the perfect time to get involved. That's just opportunity right now, you know?
Agreed.
Cool. All right. Well, we've got some good numbers here, so I'm going to go ahead and start. I don't plan on keeping this very long. Jeremy was supposed to be here but could not. He has his online class at UT, but we got a lot of people here and Rob and a few other people and Ralph too are definitely good resources to kind of pick up for Jeremy a little bit for the long-term rental game. Just some insight that I can provide, especially on the short-term rental part. Obviously, we're pretty dead right now, kind of dead in the water. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has issued an executive order that has banned vacation rentals for the month of April. He first did it for the first 2 weeks of April, and now he has extended that. So if you know anyone that is in a short-term rental game and they're taking reservations right now today, let them know they are wrong. Let them know they can be fined, and the state of Florida can definitely prosecute you for this. So I definitely recommend abiding by all of the executive orders that are in place. It's not just for your safety; it's for the safety of others. My personal view is that they're kind of being mistreated. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Hotels and lodging establishments are still able to operate, but short-term rentals cannot. And if you think about it, from my point of view, you've got a single-family home, but that's what most of all of ours are. They're probably the safest places to go instead of a hotel room that's 300, 400, 500 rooms in a building. All those people in and out touching things. The chance for exposure, in my personal opinion, is probably a little bit higher there than it would be in a vacation home. But the market reacts, and so the market has already reacted. Prices, average nightly rates of the accommodations has basically tanked. I mean, we have some rare occasions. A property that we managed for Rob, he did not see such a low blow, but we were able to do our homework, and we were searching out people specifically, people that were stuck in Florida and couldn't go home. Right now, I mean, Rob's got somebody in his place right now that's from Ireland, and they cannot fly home.
Thank you.
So, there are people that are still here that need places to stay. There's also a lot of people that are out of work that need places to stay that are affordable. So occupancy drives nightly rates in the short-term rental business. So if your occupancy is low, then you lower your prices and you hope to get it booked. How much you lower your prices is kind of your own gig. It's up to you, but we strongly recommend do not rent these homes for less than long-term rental fair market value. That's basically a good way to protect yourselves from squatters, people that wish to do unsavory things in your homes. In the short-term rental industry here in Florida, we're definitely hurting right now, but it's kind of good for us in many different ways. Here in Florida specifically, we have a lot of real estate investors. Everybody likes to invest in real estate in Florida, but what people like to do in the short-term rental business is they like to do what's called rental arbitrage. It's where they rent to re-rent. So let's say Rob's got a house and he wants to rent it to me. I'll rent it. I'll promise to Rob that money every single month, and then I'll re-rent it on the short-term rental market. It basically takes the risk out of Rob's hands because he's got a long-term rental long-term rental that is now covered by a lease, right? But what happens when people that are in this business model that do short-term rentals, rent to rent or arbitrage, is they generally sign about anywhere from 1 to 200 leases, right? And what happens what happened on April 1st already is these folks that do this, you got to think about it. They're renting a place to pay first and last month's. Yeah, they're paying first and last month's rent, and then they turn right around and they spend several $1,000s to furnish these places, take photos of it, list it, and then April comes and the governor says no vacation rentals this month. They're faced with a really tough decision. They can either break the law and rent them, or they can break their lease, or they can basically operate like any CEO of any company does and practice fiscal responsibility. Make sure that you have some reserves in place. All the good things that you would do to run a business, you know, you would do that for your vacation rentals, or you would do that for your long-term rentals. It's kind of the same across the board. So I did say that there are some good things coming out of it. All of that was bad, but the good stuff that's coming out of it is those people that are doing that short-term rental arbitrage business, they're all bankrupt now, right? So now we've got, the way I track it is a little bit different than a lot of people do, but I spend money to make money. So I buy data from multiple different sources. And of course, I create kind of a database of sorts. And I reach out to those people and I get to know them. And so I personally talk to them. And right about now, I'm thinking we're probably going to see about 500 to 600 short-term rentals leave the market right now, which is really, really good for short-term rentals on the back end as we come out of this. I do see, I mean, here we are right now, we're all sitting in our homes. We've all been quarantined to our homes for the most part. I'm tired of looking at the four walls in my house. So what's going to happen? Summertime months are going to come around, and we've already updated our prices for the summer months by 20% to make up for or to factor in the pent-up frustration of sitting at home all alone, or maybe not alone, but maybe just stuck with your kids or whatever. You know, it takes a toll on you. You know, it's a different life. People are not happy. The mental suffering on children, on the people living in the homes. Some people have never spent this much time together, right? So when they get out of this, they're going to be very anxious to get out and go see the world again. So we have already raised our prices by 20%. We're already looking at 500 to 600 listings falling off the market, and some of those businesses going out of business. Maybe the opportunity right now for someone who's interested in getting into short-term rentals is to kind of be the savior, right? I've got a couple deals that I'm working on right now where I've got some clients that are interested in getting out of the short-term rental arbitrage model. They have rented a building or a home or an apartment, and they've asked us to manage it for them. And so we do, but these folks are now on the hook for that rent. And what I'm seeing right now is people are so panicked because there's zero income in a lot of cases for an entire month, all those monthly expenses, and they can't rent it either. These people are so desperate right now that they are willing to go so far as to, hey, if you take over this lease, I'll give you the furniture, right? That could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of furniture that they're willing to walk away from because they cannot make this next month's rent. So opportunity-wise, this is perfect for someone who wants to kind of get into it without having the huge startup costs. You pay the monthly lease price. So those deals are out there. And if you guys are interested, I'd be more than willing to have that discussion afterwards and kind of connect you with some people. But I do not see this pandemic affecting the short-term rental market in a 10x type of way. It's not like this industry is going away. This is just how people travel now, right? So after the housing crisis in 2008, people shifted their lives around and they had to do other things. They had to figure out how to travel on their budget. And luckily for them, Airbnb came around in 2008 and it changed the way people travel. Instead of trying to pack, 10 people in 3 different hotel rooms that were $250 a night, now they pack 10 people into a single family home that is, $200 a night, right? And so it was cheaper for them to travel. And that's why you see so many people traveling now than you did previously in all of our generations before us. So the industry's not exactly going away. I do see some major players that are leaving. I created a market report at the end of last year, and I sent it out to all of our homeowners and a lot of our clients. And I kind of wrote about, you'll see some of these arbitrage model type people. I said they will die this year. Some of them will fall on their sword, and it's already happening. You've got companies like Sonder, which is basically a large-scale rent-to-re-rent business. They take a lot of venture capital money, and they spend, and then what happens? Those people want those returns back, and all it takes is one single month, and you'll see 500 or 600 listings just fall out. But companies like Sonder have cut 80% of their workforce, right? They're working on skeleton crews. A lot of places they can't even rent to tenants at all. So you're finding that people don't have a pandemic plan in place. What are you going to do in the event of a pandemic? What's your responsibility? Those types of things are what's driving a lot of these young entrepreneurs right out of the market. And if anybody's buying properties and holding on to them and using them as short-term rentals, this could be your saving grace here. Over the last, I'd say, 3 years here in Tampa, we've seen an increase of supply into the market, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the quality of the supply is high, right? Year over year, we've seen our nightly rates increase, but we have seen more competition. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that we're in this pandemic if we look at it long-term wise. What we are seeing, like I said, is people are leaving the market, which is good for those that are going to remain. If you can make it through the 2 months that we're in now, I think probably June 1st, we'll start to see business travel pick up a lot more. The mental psyche of humans in general, I mean, it's been doom and gloom for so long, these last 3, 4, 5 weeks that, a lot of people are breaking down because of it, but that will change. People are right now, we talk to guests every single day, right? And every single time that, either myself or someone else on our team that speaks to these guests, we can tell in the way that they write that everyone's feeling it. It's not just one particular industry. So I can definitely see brighter days in the future if we stick in there. And Florida's economy is tourism driven, so it's a protected type of industry here, and you're going to see those returns. A lot of people are going to get out of this space altogether. But how often do pandemics like this happen? I mean, the last one in my memory is, well, not even that I remember, but the only thing that we've even heard about was the 1912 Spanish flu, right? So, I mean, this is a 100-year event, it feels like. And, the way we respond to it this time will be a lessons learned, and younger generations of people like us will do nothing but get better at what we do. And, if this does happen again, we'll issue, different types of protocols that are not so overreaching, like complete lockdowns of cities and things like that. So I think we'll have some brighter days. But Rob, I mean, or Ralph, anybody else want to chime in on maybe like what you're seeing in the long term?
Well, we had a few questions for you. Also,
Okay.
For people that are new here, can you introduce who you are and your company?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So obviously, my name is Jared Higginbotham. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Teal Door Hosting. We are specific management company to short-term rentals only. So we don't do long-term rentals, but we only focus on short-term rentals. Our niche is the single-family home or, small, tiny multifamilies like 2 and 3 unit apartment buildings, things like that here in the urban core of Tampa. We do manage properties in Pinellas, but it is done by another arm of our team. So I don't personally go over there and, check on those houses every single day, but we're growing and expanding and taking over more market share of the area. I do thank everybody for coming. Let's see.
We got a question, Jared.
What's that?
What
Did I miss
about
it in the
renting
chat?
it? What about renting short term to nurses
Gotcha.
and doctors that are working right now? Is that also banned
Yep.
by? Yeah, I thought so.
So if you are a healthcare professional or a first responder, we can definitely rent to you, right? If you are looking for stays longer than 30 days, then you can still book right now. But it's really hard. If you're managing these properties on multiple different platforms, or sometimes even a single platform. You're going to get inquiries. You're going to get people that are asking about, availability, things like that. You have to check these things first, and then you have to have it in writing, right? So they're going to have to tell you, hey, I am a healthcare provider, this or that, first responders of any type. First responders, not just like EMS, but like first responders could be like, when we have hurricanes, you have a ton of different, electric companies that come down here, right? So like those type of businesses that are considered essential, you can still rent to them. But think about it this way: there's shortages of toilet paper, right? Are you gonna be able to do that? Are you really gonna be able to go over there and clean these homes and disinfect it and increase your standards from what you were doing? I mean, right now our housekeepers are obviously following CDC guidelines and protecting themselves, but they're walking around with different types of chemicals and cleaning the surfaces that don't normally get touched. So if you're gonna still operate, make sure that you're going above and beyond to exceed those expectations. It is kind of a marketing tool. People have asked, what are you doing in response to this with your cleaning? Are you, what exactly are you doing? So I am seeing that as well. But that's a good question, Jason.
Cool. And I know Ralph has short time. Do you just want to give us a quick update on like closings, Ralph?
Yeah, sure. No, I'd be more than happy to just give everybody an update. At this point, like I mentioned before, in terms of the closing process and what we've seen in terms of the communication with the counties and what as well, I mean, everything has been pretty normal. The only thing that I could say, to give you some insight is regarding when we do a lien search and look at code violations with the offices that oversee that. I mean, it's about 21 days currently before we get a response back regarding specifically code violations. But other than that, I mean, we've been continuing to do business as normal and what. Also, for some of the new folks that are on, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ralph Zeller. I'm the business relationship manager at Old Tampa Bay Title. We are a title company. We're based in South Tampa. We have an office in North Tampa as well. However, we support every county anywhere in the state of Florida. So our company, our niche as a company is that we are real estate attorney owned and operated. Not every title company in the state of Florida has that legal arm. So that really is what our value proposition is and what makes us unique. So we actually have 3 in-house real estate attorneys. We're here to support your investment needs. So, as investors, I mean, these are, I'm not just challenging times right now, but even in terms of the transactions and stuff that you guys deal with, whether you're wholesaling, flipping, whatever it may be, we have the proper resources to help you guys get these transactions closed. So anyways, feel free to reach out to me. If you want, I can go ahead. I'll give you my phone number as well. My phone number is, our office phone number is 813-402-2266. And then my cell phone as well. You feel free to reach out to myself. It's 813-305-9352. And hope to have the opportunity, like I said, to talk to you guys here in the future, and any type of closing needs that you may have. We're here to support you. So thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. I guess I'll do a quick little update. My name's Rob DeJory. I'm the branch manager for Guild Mortgage here in Tampa. I've been doing residential lending in Tampa Bay for about 13 years. We focus on conventional lending. We do offer some loans to investors, but mostly focus on the end consumer that's buying the house after you guys flip it. So a quick little update on my end. There has been an extreme tightening and a very abrupt tightening with a lot of the mortgage programs that were previously available in January, February. So what happened is there was this fear in the market. If you've been following stocks, when there's fear, people want liquidity. So they are going to spend less. And that's exactly what happened in the mortgage business, is that the investors that typically buy this paper on the secondary market, some of this non-conventional stuff for investors completely dried up. So those programs are all temporarily suspended. I had one that was very close to going to closing, where the program just ceased to exist. So we cannot even complete that loan for them. That only happened on a rare occasion for me. 95% of my portfolio is just for conventional loans. So you've also seen a tightening in the credit scores. So just recently, I think today, this morning, Chase announced that the minimum credit score for any of their loans is 700. Okay, typically it was 620. And they are also requiring a minimum of 20% down for any loan they do. This is a one-off. This is an overlay. This is not standard for all lenders. So we're still have the low down payment programs, and we still lend as low as 600 on the credit score for buyers. We've also seen a tightening in the jumbo mortgage market space. Those investors have really dried up as well. I'd be happy to answer any other mortgage questions you guys have out there. Jared, there is actually a question. Yeah, if you guys have a question, just post it in the chat here on the Zoom, and we're looking at that and can answer any questions. But the latest question was, Jason, oh, someone answered him. So just for the group.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Yeah, so
What was the
what
question?
we do, the question was, is there a way that you can find properties that are being used as short-term rentals? The short answer is yes, but lots and lots of searching photo by photo. So you can use your MLS, you can use Zillow, you can use a ton of other tools that have photos of the property. And if you see the property on multiple different websites, some of them are easier to spot than others. Some of them have been remodeled since or things like that. So it's not exactly easy to do it, but the traditional way is to literally find the listing that you want to find locally and kind of check out the map and kind of get a nice little area. Use Google Street View. A lot of people use the photos of the front of their houses in their listing photos. We do not, for multiple different reasons, but that could be a really easy way to do it. But just keep in mind, paint colors change, things like that. But it's really hard to hide a kitchen layout, things like that. So if you can find those photos in the listing and then you compare them to properties that you can pull up on the MLS or even Zillow. Zillow's a really cool tool and it's really easy to do that with. But so that's kind of the old way. Tildor Hosting, we purchase a lot of data directly from other third-party companies that do things like short-term rental analytics. So we kind of purchase it that way. But there are tools that you can also use. A lot of municipalities will hire some companies that kind of work hand in hand with their code enforcement. For instance, the city of Clearwater uses a company out of Seattle that basically goes in and looks at those listings. They find the addresses for the city, and then the city code enforcement will go out there and cite them for using their home as a short-term rental. Aside from those options, there's not really a one-click tool where you can, just discover if someone is using their home as a short-term rental.
Mm-hmm. I guess, couldn't you look on Airbnb and see if it's self-managed and then just try and find the address?
You could. You could. I don't recommend going on Airbnb and just looking up the host and reaching out to the host and seeing, because oftentimes that host that's listing it they could just be managing it, or they could be renting to rent again, right? Mm-hmm. They could be doing an arbitrage model and they won't be interested. They can also report you, and your account can get banned from Airbnb just for doing that. So I don't recommend doing it that way, but reach out to your local real estate investors associations and things like that. There's a lot of people here that already do it. So now is probably a really good time to bring up that question in one of the main meetings to see, like, hey, when we give you the time to go out there and say what you have, say what your deals are, say what you're looking for, then that's the perfect time to go out there and ask because some people were probably not even thinking that anyone wants to buy a short-term rental right now with the market so low. So it could be perfect timing for you to do it now.
Yeah, good answer. Another question here is, for long-term rentals, 5 to 10 years, what is the most common loan and what's a typical down payment? So I'll take this one. Good question. The most common loan is just a conventional mortgage, typically on a 30-year fixed term. And the typical down payment really depends on the property type that it is. So for a single family residence, the minimum down payment is 15%. For a 2-unit to 4-unit property, you're looking at 25% down or a little more. But for a duplex, I personally bought one this year and it was 25% down. Now, there are adjustable rate mortgages still out there with fixed terms at the beginning, but the differences in rate right now are not that good. So I don't recommend that. I recommend just getting into a 30-year fix right now. With investment property loans, that loan is considered by a lender as a risky feature of a loan. So that being, it's an investment property. So you're seeing that there's rate adjustments, quite hefty rate adjustments on top of the normal rates for purchasing when it's an investment property. And I would also expect to pay discount points for that interest rate. Those really have gone up over the last 3 weeks, is the cost for certain interest rates and specialty loan features like an investment property. So hopefully that answered your question, Nick.
Yeah, that answered it. Thank you.
Are you getting into your first deal? Or
I'm looking at the market, seeing what I can afford
Yeah.
for my first deal.
I mean, as far as an investor, just me personally, and Jared, you could speak up, or anyone else, but now is the time to be patient and know kind of your area and look for deals. But there'll be more coming. So definitely be patient and know what you're looking for. You can run any scenario by all of us if you'd like.
Okay. Just generally speaking, without getting into the details too much, around the Tampa Bay area, what is a good region for, a renter that pays their rent on time? I'm assuming in a good school district. Or is it better to look on the Hillsborough, the Pinellas, up the coast a little bit, or?
So, I mean, everyone has different strategies, and I would say your strategy, the long-term 5-10 years, is pretty similar to mine. We both work full-time jobs, but we also, you probably, are you going to be self-managing?
Yeah, at least to start.
Yeah. So I do the same. And my strategy has always been to find properties on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of the cost of the rental for people. And then in areas where there's going to be a demand no matter what. So I've bought properties around South Tampa, by the Air Force Base, in good school districts, maybe close to like the stadium. So you want to think about areas like that where an Air Force Base, usually during an economic downturn, still has military members moving in and out. So that typically is kind of recession proof. Plus you have South Tampa right there. So I don't know. That's been my strategy.
Yeah, that's kind of the mindset or the approach I've been taking too. I've only lived in the Tampa area for, I guess, going on 3 years now. So I'm not fully familiar with it like I am from back home, but
yeah,
I'm beginning to become familiar. But just to know if you had there's a preference, like you said, down near the base or near the stadium, I get that. But if I don't know if going up the Pinellas coast, like maybe up through Dunedin or up to Brooksville, I don't know how far north.
Yeah. I mean, that's typically what a realtor is going to help you with. So I would definitely, if you don't know the area, utilize a realtor. As a buyer, you don't pay any money to utilize a realtor. The seller actually pays their commission for you. So there's plenty of experienced realtors in this TBREIA investor group. that have an investment focus, and they're also going to be able to look at the property with an eye of an investor. So that's half the battle, is finding it. But then the other half is knowing if it's a good investment or not, if you're going to have repairs, if how much money you're going to need to get it going. So highly recommend connecting with the realtor in the group here. Let's see. Jason had a question. Nick, did that answer your question?
Hey, sorry, I was muted actually.
Oh.
But yeah, if you can actually send me any recommended realtors in the area, that'd be very helpful.
Of course, we'll do. Just
Hey,
post
I would like to add a little bit
Yes, sir.
right there too, Rob. So what Rob said is definitely 1,000,000% correct, right? But what type of investment property are you trying to get into? I would say my biggest thing that I look at is region demographics, right? So specifically, I mean, he spoke about demographics when he mentioned the Air Force Base and military members needing to stay there. But think about other things like how many people are coming to the area at one time, right? What does the supply and demand look like for those people that are moving to the area? People from Tampa probably took the longest to warm up to neighborhoods like Seminole Heights, right? I mean, my own mother-in-law thinks I live like in Iraq right now, and I live in Seminole Heights. So definitely think about, what's the market rent? Who's going to be able to afford that price? And who are those types of people? So definitely spend some time. I mean, you've got tons of downtime right now just being in quarantine. Look up some actual city demographics or region demographics so that way you can kind of understand who's coming here, how much money do those people have when they get here, and what do they want to do. Tampa's a little bit different city than maybe on the coast. Tampa has a lot younger average median age of home buyers than, let's just say, Clearwater Beach, right? It's two totally different types of buyers. People that buy those, beach properties and things like that, and the stuff down the coast, they're generally a lot older, and that's why you see Pinellas County has a much higher average median range or average median age of their people that live there. So take that into account when you do this. And I say that to kind of go into my next point is make sure that whatever kind of property you're gonna buy, make sure that you have the right supply of renters for that property in that area. So particularly if we're talking about West Tampa or maybe East Tampa, not like just split it down the map, east and west, but I literally mean those neighborhoods. East Tampa and West Tampa, historically, Section 8 housing has been really beneficial to a lot of people in those areas. You can still snag deals super cheap and then turn it right over into Section 8. You have your guaranteed money. I mean, it's a really good program. But just make sure that when you're buying something, if you're thinking about staying low, then look into some of those up and coming neighborhoods, because the first people that are going to jump on them are the flippers and the investors, right? But the people that come last are in my opinion, are the ones that really drive up the housing prices. So, for instance, I bought my house for $129,000, right, in Seminole Heights. But if I was to sell this house today, I probably would get around 260, 270. So, I mean, there's a large portion of people that are kind of late to the game. So maybe your strategy might be buy and hold for 5 to 10 years and then fix and flip it and make your profit there. So it really depends on like who is actually going to be paying the rent in that neighborhood. Is it a neighborhood that you have already foreseen massive amounts of investments to? West Tampa is a great place for young investors to still get into. There's the West River Project, the city of Tampa spending a lot of money on. So a lot of cool and exciting things are happening in those areas, but you may not know about it if you are, someone who's moving here to buy there. I wouldn't call that a forever home, because I think homes are kind of like cars. We should kind of trade them in every 5 to 10 years. But But most people, they're those first-time home buyers, things like that. They're going to try and get into neighborhoods with good schools and things like that. Maybe that neighborhood's not ready for it yet. Maybe it's not ready for the first-time home buyer. Maybe it's ready for the investor to get in there and do a light fix and not flip it, but a light fix and turn around and rent it, like I said, either Section 8 or, maybe some of these people that need to actually stay here, because as the demographics show, we have a tightening supply of available homes and the housing prices are going up. This could be the perfect time for you to get in on something and sit on it in a what we would consider not so nice neighborhood. But now I think is the time to kind of invest into some of those underserved communities to kind of bridge the gap for you and provide affordable housing, because that's a crisis too.
All right, awesome. I appreciate the feedback. Very helpful.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions or want to provide any updates in their specialty? All right. I mean, what time did you want to end? About 8, Jared? About 5, 10 more minutes?
Yeah, we can kind of kick the can 10
Does
more
anyone
minutes.
have like deals they want to
to?
pitch? Don't we do deal pitch or no?
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody have any properties they're looking to sell or looking to buy?
I'm definitely looking to buy.
Jason, what do you do for work?
A full-time investor.
Okay. What's primarily your specialty?
I mostly focus on creative finance, so lease options, sub-2s, wraps, stuff like that. Done buy and hold, and wholesale, and rentals and stuff like that, but kind of pulled out of the wholesale market. I'm just trying to focus on doing things like not necessarily rental arbitrage, but
Yeah.
in essence, something like that, So I'm looking to buy on creative terms.
Now, meaning, would that be a loan question for me? Like, what kind of financing's out there right now, or are
More
you
so in the private capital? Because usually
Okay.
I'm trying to get into deals. We'll probably pay them something up front. If we're doing a wrap, we may put a percentage down or something like that, and then taking over the mortgage on sub-2. But right now, it seems like most private capital is pretty standstill. Especially if you don't already have something going. So
right?
we will probably actually wholesale some of our creative deals if we don't have the capital to put forth that they need to close the deal.
Got it. So who specifically are you looking for? What type of home?
Really 3-2s, just kind of the standard home, but any of them will work. Nothing lower than a 2-1, and really anywhere in the Tampa Bay area. Because the exit strategy could be anything from Section 8 or, just lease optioning it on the back end or doing a regular rental. Right now we're trying to go through on-market stuff and then do cold calling on off-market stuff, but it seems like a lot of people are just kind of hitting the pause button,
Yeah.
At least that's our experience right now. So we're having a hard time really getting our conversions up at the moment.
Okay. That's good to know.
But I did like the Airbnb thing. I'm going to give that a try, because for on market, the agents are pretty much telling all the sellers that everything's fine. Everything's, there's no reason to sell it any differently. So we're kind of hoping that turns around so that it opens us up to more deals in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk a little bit about payment forbearance, Jared, like people that are in their houses.
Yeah, sure. I personally put my own property in forbearance, but I still paid my payments, we're kind of using that as a kind of an insurance policy.
So did they let you wrap it into the back end of your loan? Did they even give you that option, or did they just delay it for the couple months you asked for?
I asked for a 60-day forbearance, and they gave me 90, and they were not willing to negotiate if they wanted to add it to the back end. They wanted the full payment after that 90 days was expired, which I think is probably going to be par for the course. I did see some news articles that said that these companies that are buying those, but most banks, as soon as you close with them, they may end up selling it to a smaller servicer. And I'm hearing that those smaller servicers are kind of backed up against the wall right now, and so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, what's happening is that the servicers, they aren't the holders of the actual mortgage. They just collect payments, but they have a responsibility to pay the end investor on that note every month. So typically, if there's 5% of people ask for forbearance during normal times, they have the money to cover that. But if 40% of the mortgages they service want forbearance, they don't have enough money to cover those payments to the end investor. So there's been a lot of talks that the Fed needs to step in and provide temporary credit lines to these servicers, so that doesn't really hurt the mortgage market if these servicers start going out of business. So I think there'll be talks in the next few weeks where there's something to help out the servicers. I think once there's more help, there may be more payment options available other than you have to pay all the payments you skipped at the end of the 90 days. I've seen that that's most common. There are a few servicers that are allowing you to put it at the back end of the loan, but I wouldn't just assume that they're going to give you that option, or they're not giving most buyers that option right now.
So if we already have that, like, because we have one where we're evicting the tenant and we're in the process of finalizing the eviction when they stopped the evictions. And so now I don't know how I guess we just call our mortgage servicer and be like, hey, we need to defer or something like that. And just see how it goes. Is there anything we should know ahead of time before we make that call?
Just understand the terms. If they do give you a forbearance agreement, know when those skipped payments are going to be due. Okay. But I would say that any person that's calling in to request it, they're, I think, required by law to say, okay, and do it right now for at least 3 months.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you shouldn't have any problems if you're the mortgage holder to do that.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then let's just say if you can't make those payments at the end of the forbearance, what they're doing is in the CARES Act that the government came out with, they're saying that these servicers should work modification terms with you to work out some type of payment agreement on that loan if you're not eligible or able to make that payment at the end of
the truth is we can right now.
I know.
But, since we're not collecting rent and haven't for several months, then it's like they'll definitely be, welcome to delay it for a little while.
I would just make sure you have a plan to owe the 3 months plus another mortgage payment, maybe 4 payments after the 90 days. If you can do that, then take advantage of it. But if that puts you in a really bad spot at the end of 90 days, then you might want to make some kind of payments during this time, so it's not too big of a hole.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rob, have you seen anyone utilize the EIDL 10,000 advance or the PPP program to kind of assist them with these holding costs that they're going to have?
I'm not familiar with EIDL. Is that for the business loans that the government's offering?
Yes. So essentially, you can use the EIDL loan for a $10,000 grant. I put my application in. We'll see if they'll give me some free money. But
sure.
But yeah, you can use that, and then also, depending on how you structured your company, if you take any like W-2 income, things like that, you can apply for the PPP program. And that one's pretty crazy. I like it, but at the same time, it's a little funky because they'll go after the average payments for your last 12 months to your W-2 employees. And you can essentially take out 2.5 months loan for free. All that paycheck money that you were hiding before, this kind of highlights the reason why you might want to do it the right way. And you can basically take that W-2 income, get 2.5 months as sort of a bridge loan for your employees to keep them working. And if you're the owner and you're also an employee and draw W-2 income, then that works out really good for you because you can use that money and you'll get 2.5 months of your payroll for free. So it's the average of any 1 month for the last 12 months. You take that number, multiply it times 2.5, and then you can also, this is a pretty cool trick, I guess. I mean, they tell you how to do it, but it kind of works out really well. Whatever you took out for your payroll, for the 2.5 months of payroll, you can add on to that 25%, and then you can use that 25% of whatever your payroll loan was for to cover overhead, mortgage, rent, utilities, things like that. So this is free money that the government is giving, and it will run out. I don't even know if it's run out yet, but it's a free source, and that's 25% of your payroll that you can use towards your overhead.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the mortgage payments they're referring to might be like commercial loan payments, unless there's something in there that says if you operate your business from your home, then maybe you could use it towards mortgage payments. I don't know those restrictions. So
yeah, the restrictions were almost nothing. It said I read the entire bill and front to back, and I saw literally nothing about what is. It's actually in two different places. They kind of contradict each other in a little bit of the terminology. In one place it says mortgage interest. It doesn't say mortgage payment. It says just interest only. But then in another spot it says mortgage or rent. So it's kind of up in the air for interpretation.
Yeah, and typically with those things, if you're strong enough about your stance and you show them it in writing, they're going to say, okay, you're right. I went through the market during 2007, during the last recession, and did a mortgage modification. So I know all about that. Definitely take advantage of any government assistance early on, because they do change. They get smarter about how people are taking advantage of it, and they restrict it after a while. So I guess that's advice I learned from last time is do it early.
Yeah, I think maybe even if you don't need it, if it's free money and they're going to give it to you, like don't be super prideful. Go out there and just still take it, because you never know where you're going to be in 4 months from now. Let's just say what if we get a second wave of this and it hits us twice in 1 year? Maybe you needed those reserves that you needed the first time. Now you don't have them because you haven't been able to rebound or come out of it yet. So definitely take advantage of anything that you possibly can.
All right. So I think it's 8:02.
All right. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I appreciate the assist, Rob.
Oh, you got it. Absolutely. It's good catching up with you guys. And thanks for doing a great job, Jared, managing my property, man. And your advice. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem, brother. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this if we have no more questions.
Sure. I'm going to, my email, I'm going to put in the chat. If anyone has any mortgage questions for me, just shoot me an email. All right. It's good chatting with everyone. Have a great night.
All right, later.
See you on Thursday. Bye.